exterior of the paper with a picture of Hugh Freeze and the headline, "Pick 3. Any of you got one of these? Pick 3 what? I knew it couldn't mean conference victories in the last 2 years. Naturally, I assumed it was a contest to name the other 2 football coaches currently being paid by the university. But apparently it has something to do with seats. So anyway, I also learned Ole Miss is well on its way to reaching its goal of raising $150 million for its athletic capital campaign. To date, it's collected cash and pledges totaling $65 million, not including additional donations of aluminum cans and recyclable plastic bottles. I learned Auburn is holding running back Javon Robinson out of practice while the NCAA investigates his transcript. According to the commercial appeal, a guidance counselor at Wooddale High School has been terminated for falsifying that transcript, leading me to wonder if the transcript was offered to Mississippi State first. Now, I'm going to avoid getting into anything Tony's going to talk about. He's going to be really looking forward at what's happening in the 2012 season. But I thought I might try to summarize just a few things that happened in the off season since we were last together. First of all, congratulations to the state of Alabama for 3 consecutive BCS national championships, 2 by Alabama, 1 by Auburn. This is, yeah. That's the first time that's happened since the inception of the BCS. There's a special benefit in that for the state of Alabama. The U.S. Department of Education has agreed to allow the state to average its #1 ranking in football in 2009 through 2011 with its state literacy rankings for the same period, boosting Alabama to the 50th percentile for the first time in the state's history. Beginning in 2014, the national championship in football will be decided by a 14 playoff. The format is the so-called +1 model that's been floating around for a few years. The new system has the support of most college presidents. However, the University of Tennessee was reluctant to fully endorse the new playoff arrangement until the university recently received what its administration described as, and I quote, adequate assurance that the +1 format will not become +2 or 3, or require any of our student athletes to demonstrate proficiency in mathematics beyond simple addition. Under the new format, after 2013, the current BCS model will disappear, and no BCS conference will be an automatic qualifier for BCS Bowl. And then on to good news for the University of Memphis. After years of struggle, the Tigers become part of the BCS Conference, which is an automatic qualifier for next year. Oh, well, better late to the party than never. Memphis will have a 1-year window in which to qualify for a BCS Bowl for the old model guys. For those of you who, thank you, Tommy. For those of you who don't keep up with college football during the off season or depend on the commercial appeal, let me explain how the University of Memphis new conference affiliation is structured. After the end of the 2012 football season, Southern Miss, Tulane, East Carolina, and Marshall will withdraw from Conference USA, leaving Memphis, Houston, SMU, and Central Florida. Then Louisville, Cincinnati, and South Florida will rejoin Conference USA. Once that's done, Conference USA will change its name to the Big East, and the process will be complete. I really thought that was funnier than that. And there are a bunch of other schools that are scheduled to join the new Big East around the year 2025. More sad news, former University of Georgia football coach Jim Donnan has been charged with securities fraud by the SEC. Although Donnan was also the head coach at Marshall University, Conference USA has not yet filed similar charges. The Security and Exchange Commission is accusing Donnan of masterminding an $80 million Ponzi scheme. Legal experts believe it's the first time anyone associated with the University of Georgia has ever been alleged to have masterminded anything more serious than underage drinking. I asked Bill Harper, who follows Georgia athletics closely, if he knew about Ponzi schemes, but Bill declined to comment, saying simply that he never watched Happy Days when it was on TV. More potentially bad news for the Georgia Bulldogs. Running back Isaiah Kroll was dismissed from the team following his arrest on a weapons charge. Kroll was charged with carrying a concealed weapon in a school zone with an altered serial number. The charge of altering the serial number was later dropped because the crayon markings wore off before the ran. The usually politically correct SEC was mildly shocked when Vandy's James Franklin said that he would not hire an assistant coach until he sees his wife. Franklin said if she looks the part and she's a D1 recruit, then you got a chance to be hired. Franklin later apologized for his remarks and said it would continue to be Vandy's policy to recruit coaches and players alike without regard to their marital status, sexual orientation, religious affiliation, or athletic ability. Most other SEC coaches quickly distanced themselves from Franklin's comments about the appearance of their assistant coaches' wives. The prevailing opinion in the conference seems to be that as long as all visible tattoos are spelled correctly, and do not include profanity or the name of any other college, the wife is acceptable. I don't know if any of you are concerned about this as I am, but there has been a growing gap between the SEC East and the SEC West, and with the addition of Texas A&M to the West, the lead may now be insurmountable. Of course, I'm talking about the Western Division's growing lead in the agricultural sciences and animal husbandry. And let's face it, this is just a matter of focus. Other than the School of Veterinary Medicine at Tennessee and the grazing land set aside by the University of Georgia for its female cheerleaders, no Eastern Division school has made a real commitment to agriculture. With the addition of A&M to the West, it looks like Texas A&M, Mississippi State, Auburn, and of course Arkansas, because of its Tyson School of Fine Chicken, are pushing the SEC to add men and women's tractor pull as a conference sport. And finally, and this is also sad news, spring brought a sad ending to the Arkansas coaching career of Bobby Petrino. He was fired after a motorcycle accident. The accident occurred during an April ride through the picturesque Arkansas countryside with a young lady who also happened to be employed by the university as the director of on-campus recruiting. However, the first report said Petrino was alone and was injured during a riding tour of antebellum double wides in northwest Arkansas. As a result of the accident, Coach Petrino suffered 4 broken ribs and sustained bruises, but apparently no bangs. And no serious head trauma was reported. Clearly, this is a cautionary tale for football coaches and others in positions of power who may be tempted to think that every flirtation has a happy ending. Remarkably, we were worried about Coach Nutt just because he texted and drove at the same time. Well, that wraps up our report for this evening, and now it's time to really get on to